In a small village nestled along the lush hills of Igboland, a story of forbidden love unfolded, a love that dared to challenge the ancient customs of an entire people. This is the story of Adamma, the most beautiful maiden in the village, and the man who stole her heart, a young European missionary. Adamma was known throughout the village for her beauty. Her skin was smooth and dark, her eyes bright and curious, and her laughter as sweet as the first rain. Every morning, when she walked to the river to fetch water, villagers would stop to watch her. Young men would boast about how they tried to win her heart, but Adamma belonged to the prince. The prince, Obi, had been promised Adamma's hand since they were children. He was a good man, strong, and highly respected. The whole village looked forward to their wedding, a union that would bring great honor to both families. But fate had other plans. One day, news spread that a group of missionaries had arrived in the neighboring town. They brought strange customs, books with many pages, and a message of peace. The villagers were curious but cautious, keeping a distance from these foreigners. But Adamma's curiosity grew stronger by the day. A month later, the missionaries finally arrived in Adamma's village. Among them was a young, handsome man named Daniel. He was tall, with bright blue eyes that seemed to shine in the sunlight, and a kind smile that softened his serious face. He moved through the village respectfully, and speaking softly to anyone who approached. For Adamma, it was fascination at first sight. She watched him from afar, marveling at how different he was from the people she knew. Daniel was humble, patient, and treated everyone, young, old, rich or poor, with kindness. One afternoon, as Adamma was by the river, Daniel appeared, alone. He noticed her struggling to lift a heavy water pot and immediately offered to help. Surprised but grateful, she let him. He smiled as he carried the pot, and in broken Igbo, he introduced himself. They talked, awkwardly at first, but soon, they both laughed at each other's clumsy attempts to communicate. From that day, they met often by the river. Daniel would bring her flowers he picked from the bushes around the village. Adamma laughed but secretly cherished each gift. As weeks passed, Adamma began to have feelings for Daniel. She admired his courage, his kindness, and his gentle nature. Her heart, once tied to the prince, slowly drifted towards the young missionary. But trouble started. Villagers noticed the closeness between Adamma and the white man. Rumors spread, whispers traveled. Adamma has forgotten her roots, they said. Her parents were furious, blaming her for even considering such a love. The elders warned her that she would bring shame to her family and curse the village. The prince himself was deeply hurt. He had grown up believing Adamma was his, that they would rule together. His heart broken, he went to the elders and demanded that they speak to Adamma. But Adamma was fearless. When the elders summoned her, she stood before them, defiant yet respectful. She explained that Daniel was different from what they believed, that he was kind and had a pure heart. But her words were like stones thrown against a wall. The elders refused to accept them. They warned her that if she pursued this love, she would be cast out of the village, forever banished. With a heavy heart, Adamma met Daniel by the river that evening, sharing the ultimatum. He was heartbroken, knowing she would lose everything for being with him. In his eyes, she saw her future, a life of uncertainty, of isolation from her family and community. But when she looked into his eyes, she also saw love, a love that warmed her heart and made her feel more alive than ever. They held hands, and Daniel whispered, "We can leave. We can go somewhere new, start our own life." But Adamma hesitated. Could she truly leave everything behind? Could she abandon her family, her people, her culture? The village soon discovered their meeting by the river that night. They gathered, torches in hand, and stormed toward the riverbank. Adamma's father was at the front, his face twisted with anger and betrayal. Daniel stepped forward to shield Adamma, pleading with them in his broken Igbo, begging for their mercy. In the end, Adamma's father gave her one last choice: stay and end all ties with Daniel, or live with him and be gone from the village forever. The air was thick with tension, the villagers watching with bated breath. Tears streamed down Adamma's face as she turned to Daniel. She knew her decision would haunt her, no matter what. With a trembling voice, she whispered, "I cannot stay here. Not without you." And so, under the cover of darkness, Adamma and Daniel fled the village, leaving behind everything they had ever known. The villagers watched them go, their love forever a forbidden tale whispered through generations. In the years that followed, Adamma and Daniel built a new life far away from the village. They faced many hardships, but their love endured, growing stronger with every storm. Their story became a legend, a reminder of the power of love, and the courage it takes to defy tradition.